Gonna open with the Texas Rangers, and boy, oh boy, oh my God, what I had to witness this past weekend. Went over to Rogers Center in Toronto,
Yeah, you had it
and
worse than us.
if there was a microcosm of how this season has gone for the Texas Rangers, folks, it was right there in those first two games, right there, leading 5-2, going into the eighth inning. Jacob deGrom pitched phenomenally. Had about 5 innings of shutout ball. Blue Jays couldn't really do anything about it. Left the game with about 84 pitches, I believe. And the bullpen just flat out blows it. And now the Texas Rangers bullpen, even though they're like the third or fourth lowest bullpen ERA in the league, in the MLB, that is, they still have blown, I believe, now 24, 25 games. That is top of the league. So it's
Yeah.
more of the same historically for the Texas Rangers. We've seen it so many times in our lives. This team cannot hold on and lock down a lead in the last few innings. And we saw once again Robert Garcia struggling in the clutch. Every time he gets in, a home run is getting given up. We saw it
Mhm.
again to right field. I saw it in person. But sadly, our other bullpen pitchers still were not showing up as well. Danny Coulombe got knocked out as well. Many guys got shuffled in before they even recorded an out. So you saw this loss against the Blue Jays on Friday night, a primetime setting in Toronto, a great crowd, I might say. It was still a great game to watch, but very unfortunate for the Texas Rangers. And then the next day, a Patrick Corbin start. And yeah, come on. We knew this was eventually going to be Patrick Corbin. It was too good to be true the first time he was pitching these first few weeks in replacement of Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter. What are your thoughts on this past weekend of Rangers baseball, TJ?
Depressing. I don't know what else to put it as. This is like the least amount of fun that I've ever had as a Rangers fan, other than probably the bat flip, the 2011 World Series, which I was still pretty young, so I didn't really understand that. But I mean, and other than that 2020 season, that wretched 2020 season and all those years, I mean, this is the least fun that I've had as a Rangers fan. It's very disappointing. It's like almost expected. Like you talk about Tuesday night going into the seventh inning stretch, for example. The seventh inning stretch, we were tied 2-2 against the Royals, and there was just no hope on my side, at least. On my side, at least, I was like, this game's over. The Royals are going to win. Sure enough, they score one run in the bottom of the seventh, and I thought that was going to be it. They ended up adding insult to injury. They won 5-2. But I was like, all right, there it is. Another one inning loss, or one inning. Another one-run loss, lost in one inning. But No, it ended up being a lot worse. The bullpen ended up doing a lot worse. Hobie Miller is the one to blame from last or from Tuesday. Sorry, we again, I think we always got to remind our viewers, but we filmed this on Wednesday, so we don't know the conclusion of the Wednesday game against the Royals, but we do know the two losses on Monday and Tuesday. Um, but I mean, it's so hard to even enjoy the wins because you look at the game on Sunday where they won 10-4, I believe, and they were up basically 5 runs almost the entire game at least. And it goes straight back to square one on Monday. You lose by 1 run. You give up late runs, and Tuesday is almost the same deal as well. No offense at all. There's no consistency. And so it's just so disappointing. It's so hard to stick with this team right now. I mean, we were talking about being in the wild card just about a week ago, basically, 2 weeks ago almost. There's plenty of season left. There's plenty more than 2 weeks left in the season, so they can obviously still come back. I don't want people to think that it's over because it really isn't technically. I know it's hard to, you know kind of remain hopeful of this team, and I don't really want to remain hopeful for this team much longer as well. But I think it's important to remind people that there's still a whole month left. They still have a couple games to play with here, and maybe they come back, and if not, they get a good draft pick, I guess. But it's such a disappointing season, man. So depressing, dude. So depressing. This is way worse than last year, I think.
Oh, and by the way, before I add on to this, that was TJ Krilowicz. I'm Joseph Duffy. I don't think I introduced each other, but this is the 214 Sports Show.
They know us, man. Come on. You
Yeah,
think they
they
don't
know
know
us,
us?
our loyal
They
viewers.
know
But if
us.
this is your first time, that was TJ Krilowicz. I'm Joseph Duffy. Thank you for joining us on episode 81 of the 214 Sports Show. But yeah, man, you really hit the nail on the head. Just 2 weeks ago, we were talking about this team in wild card contention. They were really about a game and a half back. As it stands now, it's about at five, I believe, 5 or 6, behind the third wild card. But man, like it's just depressing to watch, and it's starting to feel like the players are just not bought in anymore. Starting to feel like there's some reports, if you heard about Josh Young not liking being sent down. Look, I know most players not gonna like getting sent down, especially if they're like 27, 28 years old. But we're hearing some rumors that some of these players not being, receptive of the coaching. And, I don't know if he can put that on Bruce Bochy. We were kind of putting some blame on him last week. And, sometimes you gotta have the players get blamed as well. A lot of these players are underperforming this year. And we've already gone at Jock Peterson and Jake Berger enough and Robert Garcia, but our main stars in Corey Seager, although he had a better series against the Blue Jays, a lot of our better players not having the seasons we envisioned either. So at what point do we think like that these guys deserve criticism in your opinion?
Well, I don't. I mean, other than Josh Smith, I think everybody, every batter on this roster has underperformed the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got to put a lot of blame. I think, there's this is really funny because last week I put out the point that we need to fire Bruce Bochy. Sorry. I don't know why I'm coughing like this. And we put it in a reel. We posted it on like TikTok and Twitter and stuff like that. And you can follow us at 214 or at the 214 Sports Show on those socials, by the way. But we posted it there, and a lot of people were thinking that I was only blaming Bruce Bochy, which is far from the truth. These players are babies, apparently, as well. They need to stop complaining. There is so much frustration in the players right now. Obviously, Bruce Bochy's a lot to. I think Bruce Bochy has a lot to blame. You look at the Blue Jays. I mean, they're 12 games ahead of us. They are a half game out of the best record in the AL, and they have the same run differential as us. That is a big indicator on small decisions made throughout a game or small consistency issues throughout the season that are causing the Rangers to lose these games that the Blue Jays are not. And but at the same time, you also got to realize that it's also the players' fault. The players need to be able to go out there and execute as well. And I mean, I don't know. I didn't even know about the Josh Young, being disappointed. Well, dude, stop striking out, man. Like, stop striking out. Stop swinging out of your shoes. You're not even hitting home runs that much. And I mean, it's so hard to blame just one person because it's so obviously the entire roster, the entire staff that just need to have a deep look at themselves and be like, why are we underperforming? Why have we underperformed for 2 straight years? Um, yeah, I mean, I just wish the leaders were more adamant. I wish there were more leaders in the clubhouse. I think that, I love Seager and Simeon. And I love that they try to stay away from the bright lights of, of being I guess, a superstar on a team and always being the one that gets asked questions, I guess. But, you kind of wish that they would take initiative as well. They're the money men. We brought them in with huge, huge contracts, and they're still getting paid a buttload of money. And you just kind of wish that, of course they won us our World Series, but when you have a contract for 7 or 8 years like they do, one World Series is good, but you want more. You want more. And it just seems like they're so complacent now. It seems like, maybe not Seager, maybe more Simeon, but they just seem more complacent. And I don't know if Kevin Pillar was right. I hate that the Rangers are building this culture, this clubhouse culture that's getting like shit on by other athletes now, like it's the Cowboys or something. Like what is in the waters of Arlington?
What went wrong, man?
But I know, and I mean, you look at like, seriously, where did we go wrong? You look at like the 2011 squad, the 2012, the early 2010 squads, that was full of culture, full of fun, full of energy. You knew the team, even if they didn't win that game, you knew the team was having fun. This team, there's no fun watching them, and you don't even know if they're having fun.
Yeah, they don't look like they're playing with joy out there most
They
of the time.
aren't.
I
I
could
don't
be
think they
wrong,
are.
but I don't see a lot of smiling out there. I don't see a lot of, you know, being locked in. I don't see a lot of guys just looking like they enjoy, their each other's company out there. It
I'm not
just
seeing
seems
it
like
in
they're
the
either doing a
crowd either.
job. Yeah. Oh, in the crowd as well. Let me go to that before we transition. But man, I don't know what happened to these Rangers home crowds. People have been talking about this the past week and a half or 2 weeks, but these games just have no energy anymore. It just
I'll tell you
feels
what.
like, go ahead.
No, I went to the Diamondbacks game a few weeks ago where we lost in the ninth inning. Ketel Marte hit the home run, not the one that we were one strike away from winning or one out away, but um, I mean, you go that whole game and the Diamondbacks are just putting in pitchers over and over again that have constantly horrible ERAs, horrible whips, and they're dominating our offense. I believe they had about 4 or 5 hits that game, 2 runs. Um, That was like the Diamondbacks giving up. That's like us putting out Patrick Corbin and then putting out, I don't know, Robert Garcia for 3 innings and shutting them out and barely allowing hits. And so, I mean, when that shit happens, man, it's like, thank goodness these tickets were $11. They were great seats too. Like, I mean, it is just awful. I mean, it's not good baseball to watch. Not
We
at
need
all.
we need to bring passion back to these home games to get, these players motivated more. I mean, I think some things can change definitely in the home environments at Globe Life Field because it does feel like it was a very quiet game. Even the game we went to a few months ago when they played the Blue Jays earlier in the season, man, it just felt like there wasn't enough energy. And I get it, that was not the best of games. We didn't take the lead until very late in like the eighth inning, I believe, with like a Josh Young RBI double or something. But like, where is that energy early in the game? I feel like that's been missing from this new Rangers stadium. It looked good in the 2023 postseason, but where is it when this team is trying to fight and grind for a World Series or a wild card spot? Which, by the way, before we get out of here, apparently Dave Raymond just went off on the ticket, the Rangers play-by-play man, and he was mentioning how the Tigers were 8.5 back of that final wild card spot around this time, and they made a run. But he went in on the team saying, they don't have enough players who give a damn. And so that's probably the reason why they probably won't be likely to do that like the Tigers did last season. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who would be that person in the clubhouse that would go in there and get their butts into shape, but it obviously it can't be Bochy. He might pull a muscle trying to yell at the players. No disrespect. I love Bochy, but I mean, there's really no leader in this locker room. There's really no leader. I kind of want to see. I just need to see some fire. I need to see Adolis Garcia out there. With some emotion like he used to. I need to have. I just need to have these players just show that they care because that's just what we want to see at this point because they're not just losing. They're losing with like in horrible, embarrassing fashion, game after game. Every loss right now is terrible, terrible. Um, and I mean, it's just like, man, if we could just pull in. How we started off the second half. We went like 8-1 in that first 3 game home series, and we're having a couple walk-offs every now and then, and you would see that fun, you would see that energy. If it's just unbelievable that was just like a month ago. Um, you got to really there, but that also shows that you could turn around so quickly. But if they're not going to show that they don't care, then yeah, it's obvious that it's not going to happen. Dave Raymond's 100% right.
Yeah, man. Well, the Rangers, as we record this, will close out their series against the Royals.
Yeah.
And after that, they'll go back, I believe. They're going back to Arlington, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Um, you know, yeah, they will go against Cleveland and then host the Angels after, and then they'll hit the
Big
road
wild
after.
card
So
game.
So it's a big
Big
wild
wild card
card. Yeah,
series.
this series as it is a very big wild card series. But they'll finish the 4 game road series against the Royals and then go to Cleveland, go host Cleveland back in Arlington. So not over like you said, whole month of action left. But man, very disappointing past 2 weeks for these Texas Rangers.